welcome to this, and this is my DVD review of Supercard of Honor 4. Something I've talked about, I don't know, I feel like a million times. Of course, I was at this show. It was WrestleMania weekend. Me, Crazy Mike, MB, Chase, C-Dude, Gilbert, and let's see, who else was there? There was a bunch of other YouTubers. A-Stone was there. There were a few other guys that I just can't remember off the top of my head that were all there as well. And, of course, we did the group video where we talked about this. I did the video after I talked about that night after the show. But this is the DVD because you never know how things are going to show up on DVD. So this is the actual DVD review for you guys. I would hope most of you have probably already gotten this. This review is way late, and luckily this show has gotten pretty good reviews, which I'm glad to see, as everything did come off pretty much as it did live, which was pretty good. This was the very first Ring of Honor show I've ever been to. I was looking very forward to it. You know, I tried many times to go to many different Ring of Honor shows, particular shows in New York, as Crazy Mike, Moral Virus, a few other guys. That's where they're from, so I wanted to go with them, and I just never got the chance, and finally, this was my chance. So this was the first show I ever got to see live, and they did deliver, and we'll talk about that as things go away. This show is kind of special to me in a way on here too. So let's start out with everything, I guess. We had Nigel McGuinness. They started the show off with Nigel McGuinness kind of talking about everything and him being hurt and him being champion and what it meant to him and all of that sort of thing, which is a pretty good way to start out the show, particularly how the show ended. So that was a nice little bookmark, or a start kind of to bookend the beginning and the end of the show, I thought. So that was good. The first show we had, of course, was Erick Stevens versus Rhett Titus. This was okay little match. I enjoyed it. I like Erick Stevens a lot. I think Rhett Titus is pretty funny. They did a really good job of kind of getting Rhett Titus' goofiness over, and the fact that, you know, that sort of thing. Probably not as good as it could have been. I think Erick Stevens just is kind of in cruise control right now for whatever reason. Though since this, especially on HDNet on those shows, they seem to be trying to do some things different with him. I really hope they do, because when he was doing kind of the Dr. Death Steve Williams stuff, or it looked like he was going to be kind of Dr. Death, Steve Williams type of thing. It was pretty groovy, and I really liked it, and I hope that he can capture that again, because that was really, really good stuff. So there we go. Next we had kind of a interesting match, to say the least. Chris Hero, Eddie Edwards, and Incognito versus Kevin Steen, Jay Briscoe, and Magno. This is the match, if you guys have heard about this show, that the top rope on the match, during the match, broke. Now, you would think they would stop the match, just restart the match, do the match again type of thing. But the guys kept going, and I think normally they would have done that, but the guys were like, okay, the top rope broke, let's just keep going. So I think they just kept going, and didn't seem to really miss a beat, and just kept kind of going with it. Chris Hero kind of showed kind of that he's got the stuff, because it didn't faze him at all. There was lots of nice little comedy spots with the ropes broken. Kind of added a little bit to the match, and the match was going okay at this point, but in a lot of ways it kind of made the match better, because you were like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they, you know, there was something a lot of people hadn't seen. If you see the DVD, it's probably something most people have never seen, and they just kind of went with it. So it was kind of good. The Luchador guys wound up kind of using the second rope for the Luchador moves instead of the top rope. We had a moonsault off the, instead of off the top rope, off the top turnbuckle, it was actually off the post, the ring post, which was a kind of a cool visual, and some other things like that. It was very interesting. I could never do this match justice, because it's something you just have to kind of see without the top rope. Some people probably won't like it as much as me, but I just found it very interesting to see how they went. I thought it added something actually to the match, which is, you know, I think if you would have been in there with guys that, I think some guys would have freaked out, and these guys didn't. They just like, okay, let's just keep going and doing what we're going to do and just kind of go with it. And that's what they did, and it worked, and it was actually pretty good. Next we have Roderick Strong versus Nakajima. If you have never seen Nakajima, Nakajima and Kenta have been literally kicking the shit out of each other in Japan. Up to this point, they'd already had 2 matches, or maybe 3. They may have already had 3 matches at this point. Kind of their feud. And so I had high hopes for this. When I saw Bill and Doug, they were asking me, before the show, they were asking me what I thought of this match. And I said, man, this match, you want to watch this match because this will be really good. And it was. It was very good. While it was not Davey Kenta, by it just wasn't that. It was pretty close, and it was really good. A lot of the same types of things. Not as long of a match. Was definitely there to just kind of set up and just kind of be a good match, and that's what this was. It was a very good match. It was just a lot of fun, and really, really enjoyable. Good kicks, good chops, backbreakers, good wrestling. A very Puro-style match, and really, really good stuff. Next, we had something that some people will probably despise. I loved it, being there live. A lot of people at the show liked it too. As one of the biggest pops of the night was during this match, where Bobby Dempsey had a mystery opponent. This was the last of the mystery opponents that his open contract that he had with Sweet and Sour Inc. And so they had given some hints on the board and on the website. Most people thought it was going to be Kamala. It wound up being Kamala. It was kind of funny. Kamala comes out. There's like Kamala kill, and Bobby Dempsey rips off his shirt, and he has the body paint that Kamala has. Starts patting his belly like Kamala. So Kamala's like, ooh, he's friend. It's very funny. It actually works out really well. It's a lot of fun, and it was really good stuff. It was a nice little comedy bit. Not really a match, but more of a skit, and thought came off really well. Next we had El Generico, Blue Demon Jr., or El Generico versus Blue Demon Jr. versus Claudio Castagnoli and Brent Albright. This match was just kind of there. It was not as good as I had hoped it had been. A lot of people were kind of ugh when Blue Demon Jr. was in. He didn't do bad, but it was definitely just didn't have what you would expect from this match. It was just kind of okay. Kind of set up for the match the next night, but it wasn't as good as it should have been, in my opinion, and it was just kind of there. Still an okay match, but not as good as you would imagine. Next we had Bryan Danielson versus Alex Koslov. This was a match that I was looking very forward to seeing on DVD because this match was so much fun live, and luckily I think this came off through the DVD very well. This was a lot of fun, some comedy bits. Bryan Danielson kind of doing the USA chant, and Alex Koslov kind of trying to start up a Russia chant, which I believe he got started a couple of times. It was just really good. They played off of each other really well. It was kind of just an old-fashioned kind of, USA versus Russian guy type of match, except that the fans kind of went, okay, let's do some different things, and the fans were kind of into it. So this was a very fun match. I really enjoyed it. Good match, and I'd love to see these guys go at it again, to be honest. Next we had D'Lo Brown versus Colt Cabana. This was, that night, I felt it was like the weakest match on the card. It was definitely the weakest match on the DVD. Was just very much lackluster. I expected this to be more of a comedy match. We really didn't get that. Just wasn't, I don't know. There was just something off. These guys just did not work well together at all, and it was just like, blah. Then we had the match, as I have called it. Kenta versus Davey Richards. And if you read the description, you will see what it said, as this is the match that, people probably saw if you saw Bill and Doug's video after this event, that, in my opinion, turned them from the dark side. This is that match. I came on here, when I first came on to YouTube, this was kind of, I would say, and I've said this before, and some people probably disagree, but when I first came on this felt very much like a sanctuary for TNA fans. If you went elsewhere on the web or on the internet, TNA wasn't very much liked. It got dissed a lot, but this is kind of where I just felt there was a lot of TNA fans. And maybe it's because TNA had, their own YouTube account. I'm not sure. Just felt like this was just kind of a mecca for TNA fans. and Bill and Doug being the two biggest. And of course, when I came on here, I questioned a lot of the things. I disagreed with a lot of things they said. I, kind of became a thorn in their side in a lot of ways. But I always said that I would go to a TNA show if they came to Houston, and that at some point I was going to go to an ROH show. And here I was, champion ROH, and I'd never been to one of their shows. I went to TNA. Was a good show. I will say that if you went back and saw it, it was Victory Road from last year. Didn't really enjoy myself as much as I could have. I didn't think they put on quite the show that I thought they should have, and there was a lot of things to that which I won't go into, but there was a lot of that. So it was very refreshing that, Bill and Doug said they would go to this show, and they did, and they were amazed by this match. We were all there after the match. After the matches, we were all sitting around, and they came up, and they were just blown away by how good this match was. And there was a little bit of glee in me, because I was like, I got my point proven. And so that, more than anything to me, shows you how good this match is. This match is awesome. You have Kenta and Davey Richards. If you've seen any of Kenta and Nakajima matches, basically Davey Richards was playing the part of Nakajima in this. They did a really good job. They had lots of stiff kicks, lots of punches. They had one point where they were just kicking the crap out of each other, and it was awesome. And you were just like, oh my God, how much longer can they go? Steve DeMarco, who puts videos on here, he was at the show too, and I didn't see him till after this match. And after this match, this was the match where he was just like, how do you even compare to that? How do you do anything to that? This was just an awesome match, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. If you see the DVD, you might be able to hear me and Crazy Mike doing our Japanese girl impressions of Kenta. You had this, of course, the most famous chant throughout this whole match was the "Fuck WrestleMania" chant. When Kenta hit Davey Richards with the Falcon Arrow to the outside onto the mat, was just amazing. At that point, me and Crazy Mike were jumping up and down, acting like Japanese little girls, marking out so hard. This match just is very good. They did edit the match, though, because the way the match originally ends is they go for a reverse go to sleep, where Davey Richards is on Kenta's shoulders like on a torture rack, and Kenta's trying to lift him up and then is going to do the knee to the back of the head instead of to his face. He did it twice. I think he went and goofed it up both times, and then went for a just a normal go to sleep. And they did edit that on here. It's really nothing that you can't tell. It's you can tell, but you can't tell. It probably adds a little bit to the match in some regards, but knowing that it's there kind of takes away too. So I think it's just kind of, I wish they had left it alone, because I think it actually kind of worked in the context of the match. Still just awesome stuff. Just really, really, really awesome stuff, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely, this is the match to get this DVD for. And that's saying something, because there's another match on here that's really good too. The next match, the guys that had to go after that, was Tyler Black and Necro Butcher taking on Austin Aries and Jimmy Jacobs. If you go back and you see my review, my live review, I didn't see this match. I was back talking to DeMarco, and also because I was just worn out. And most of the fans were worn out. You can tell that they wanted it. So I was looking forward to seeing the DVD so I could see this match, because I didn't get to see this match. And I really liked it. Thought it was really good. It was a good little hardcore type match. Nothing special, nothing more than what we'd seen from these guys before, but it was still good. It was entertaining. And they just had to go after, they just had to go on after a really, really awesome match, which kind of sucks. Which leads us to the main event, which was Nigel McGuinness versus Jerry Lynn. And this was great. I thought it was great live. I didn't know how it would come up on DVD, especially after, being away from it for a while and the atmosphere and all that stuff. But I still think this was a great match. I thought it was laid out great. I thought it built perfectly. Here was, fans that were basically worn out by this point. It's very hard to explain, but you can tell on the DVD that the fans were into the show, but they were just kind of worn out. And by the end of this match, the fans were into it. They were into Jerry Lynn, which is saying something because a lot of fans weren't into Jerry Lynn going into this match. And this was just awesome. Nigel, again, went out there like a trooper. He was injured and put on an amazing match. They worked around it. Him and Jerry. This is where I'm sure Jerry helped, was probably the guy that laid out a lot of this, and was very well done. This was kind of an old school type of match in some ways, so I probably like this maybe a little bit more than some people would, but still thought this was just a great match and thoroughly enjoyed it, and was a great end to the night, especially since we had the Davey Kenta match, which is. I wouldn't want to go after that, even the fourth match out of it. So, and when we saw the Davey Kenta match, we thought, damn it, that's going to be match of the weekend. But Shawn Michaels and Undertaker had something to say about that, so there was that. But overall, this was a great show, and thoroughly enjoyed it on DVD. Like I said, the edit on the Davey Kenta thing. Really, when I first heard that they did it, I was kind of like, what? And then I saw it. It really wasn't all that bad, but still, great DVD. I'd give it an 8.5. Still really good stuff, and definitely recommend checking it out. And with that, I'm out. Have a good one, and